Then you can't control your bitches?
What I'm saying is they deserve any area they can control.
Well, I respect your ambition, Willie, but you got to have vision.
Peace, everyone. Grand Rising. Good morning, November 13th, 2018. We keep rolling along, working on kind of like a little series, kind of like a theme. Brought to you by the New Orleans Voodoo Tarot deck, and also the astrology kind of working in tandem as I see it, and really giving me some insight as to what's going on within myself, and then generally connecting with a lot of different people in many different ways. So, you know, peace. No, that's not my beat. That's Public Enemy, or yeah, one of them. Public Enemy sample, one of those. Just one of my favorite beats. Just I felt like a good vibe for the morning. It's always a vibe for me. I just throw that on and just feel a certain type of way. So just sharing vibes, you know, sharing information, sharing study, sharing intuition. There's a lot going on within the collective generally, because we all share the same spiritually, and you know, we got this union that our egos isn't like fully alerting us to, so we have to deeply in tune to finally get some clairvoyance or clairsentience or just overall vision. And that's what we're trying to establish, and that's what I think the astrology establishes today. That's what I think this message establishes, is just the overall message of vision, the overall message of objectivity, and ultimately foresight or foreknowledge. I think these are powerful words and powerful terms. Just thinking on these things last night before I was asleep allowed me to have like some amazing dreams, and where I was seeing things at a different level, or seeing how things can manifest on the multiple levels. So I'm very grateful today to be in this position, to be favored by particular energy that means well on the planet. I could just really feel favor in my life, as opposed to when I wasn't engaging or corresponding with higher celestial energies. I didn't really incur favor. I incurred heartache, misunderstanding, confusion, lack of finances, lack of love, and I'm just at a space where none of that is applicable. And it's all due to my correspondence. It's all due to knowing at a particular point that things were going to get better and making that pivot. And even when I was in spaces where it didn't appear better, that foresight or that foreknowledge sustained me. And not sustain me by not actually doing the work, but it sustained me in doing the work, because I knew that point A was going to lead to point B, to C, to D, to blah, blah, blah. And nowhere near finished, but generally I feel like I'm in a position that I could speak to the energy and help others. And so if you resonate with that, then good. If you don't, that's fine too. But we're going to keep it moving. Today is Tuesday, so the focus is going to be on Mars and its major aspects. We have a square to Jupiter, and we have a sextile to Uranus. Pause. And so Mars in the 28th degree, as it's about to go into Pisces. Mars is it's kind of one of those things where Mars, it's like you literally looking over a cliff. You at the top of the mountain, Mars in Capricorn, and Spirit is just like jump. So at the begin, and then we had a retrograde, so it'd be like Spirit said jump, and then Spirit pull you back like, no, you gotta jump again, you ain't jump right. And you like, what the hell? Like, no way. And so you submerge yourself into Aquarius, Mars. And then what we realize is that, we actually have the ability to fly. We actually have the ability to look at things from a different perspective if one was to not be so fucking scared all the time. Generally, you will notice that you have a particular perspective. Just use your common sense. If I was on a cliff, my perspective is that of eye level. Therefore, everything above me, below me is irrelevant. I can only see things that's perpendicular to my eyes. Or I can look up, look down, whatever. But then, say for instance, I jump off that cliff. Now my perspective is different, or it can be different. Or I can be in a position where I'm just petrified that I jumped off a goddamn cliff. So that's figuratively, of course. Nobody should be jumping off cliffs. But the reality is that we have an oversoul, or we have a spirit that creates this flying over you effect. And so this flying over you effect that spirit presents to you is a further viewpoint or vantage point to the world. And tuning into that takes care of your immediate needs easily. Not in tuning into that is the separation between you and the now. Because generally what separates me from everyone else, or not to say everyone else, because who am I to think or know what people are thinking or processing, but generally my perspective is that of either anchoring or corresponding with higher celestial energy that has a greater viewpoint. I can only see throughout these two eyes but so far, and Lord forbid if there's some walls in front of me, I can't see shit. A building, piece of wood, now my view is obstructed. Generally, when you deal with spirit, that view is never obstructed. That's why you can always show up clear and available and down for whatever. When you don't deal with spirit, then you're dealing with your ego. And when you see a wall, you niggas start to panic. So there's a level to this thing of, you know, natural, normal, everyday shit. Then it's another level to where we talking about the realm of supernatural, or the realm of vision, and the realm of taking shit to the next level. Generally, I start talking about driving on four wheels and pushing a pedal, and all niggas is doing for the past 10,000 years. Like, cars is such a new, inventive switch in our paradigm that's kind of is really crazy. When you think about technology and advancement post the 1900, where you had literally a civilization or life in general that sustained and built and dealt with itself on a basic, fundamental nature level. Then you got us with all this industry and, you know, a fucking plastic ball the size of Texas in the middle of the Pacific Ocean because we want to do the most. But irregardless to that, I don't know why. But just say, for instance, you talking about this vehicle, like, you don't really have to have horses driving it. Like, you don't have to be whipping a horse and on a dune buggy and your wheels falling off and shit. Like, no, I'm gonna create a self-propelling car. You know, people probably looked at Henry Ford or the person that told Henry Ford about the car like that was crazy. But if you have vision and you have foresight and you begin to implement and institute your particular idea from spirit, then you would actually change the world. And so as we approach this cusp, everything is on the cusp. If we just look at the astrology, when we just look at the map, we got Uranus at 29 degrees, Chiron at 28 degrees, Mars at 28 degrees. The sun's about to progress into Sagittarius. Jupiter is at 1 degree Sagittarius. Venus is in the third decan of Libra. The North Node is at the cusp of Cancer and Leo. Like, all of this, like I'm not, like, you could just see it. Like, everything is changing and shifting. And so how you succeed with this energy, how you win with this energy, is don't think that you crazy for thinking different. Do that different shit, especially if you got some details and some plans. This is why you got to really talk to other people as well, because as the other aspect, well, I didn't even talk about the aspects either. I was just talking about Mars in general, but Mars square Jupiter is really, are you able to get past that block to connecting with people? Final frontier. Like, we've been conscious in our bedrooms for so long. Like, you know, get out your bedroom with it. Figure out what's the purpose of this consciousness. Is not to make some money. Like, I think people generally in consciousness think, like, you know, they got to do something in the realm of consciousness to be happy. But I can tell you from, like, source that even when you incorporate consciousness into your way of life, it still is a job. It still is some shit that you would begin to hate because it's still work. Dealing with people, healing people is not some, you know, Wallakazam, Alakazoo type of shit. People got real issues. They got real problems. And if you're not ready to deal with people every single day and deal with their problems and have solutions, and people coming at you with difficult problems, and you might be feminine, but you don't have that masculine part to handle your the masculine, like, it's a lot to spirituality and making it a business. Like, this is me and my wife. Like, we're a business behind everything. Like, we create a business model and we discuss things on a different level, because this is what's needed to be successful. It couldn't just be just me, cause that's too much. You know, but anyways, like it's a whole different vibration that's taking place. And this Mars square Jupiter is connecting to people and then dealing with the square. Why aren't you connecting to people? It's a level of initiation versus habit. And so if we can get out of the space of habit and more into the space of initiation, because you say I'm single, you say I'm alone, but let me ask you, do you want to be alone? If the answer is yes or whatever, that's fine. But if the answer is no, like I'm not asking you based upon circumstances, because circumstances can make you say fuck the world and fuck everybody. I don't want to be around nobody. But within you, I can only speak for myself. I could easily say fuck everybody. I don't want to be around nobody, and I don't have to depend on nobody for shit, and just leave me the fuck alone. That's well within my realms of speech. I probably said that a few times in my life, a time or two, but that's not the core truth to my being. That's not my reality. My reality is that I love syncing and meeting and dealing and blending and vibing with different people. This is just my reality. This is what, and so foresight is being in a space of being alone, but then knowing your core and then making the decision to adjust your reality to align your reality with your core, as opposed to living some life other than your core. So much we've built upon this and built upon these ideas that now it's just like it's happening. So a lot of people in the same space is going crazy for no reason, because generally people wanted everything but change. They wanted everything in life, what life had to offer, but then you offer them change, and you know, like that fucking blew them. They went crazy. So to really understand this process, Jupiter, first degree of Sagittarius, is really understanding initiation, creating the relationship, creating a life, creating things that you want. If you don't say that you want it, don't expect to manifest it. Like, and even if you say that you want it, if you're not taking steps, walking down that Jupiterian Sagittarian pathway, then like you don't get what's at the end of the goddamn pathway. Like what at the end of the pathway is not coming to meet you, you know. And so if you're willing to walk down this pathway, if you're willing to take those chances, then you winning. But if you not, it's not gonna come to you. So Sagittarian is very duplicitous in its nature. It's very much, it's like, you know, the opposite of Gemini, and it shares a lot of Gemini's traits. And so as we begin to fully get into this Sagittarian energy with the Sun conjunct Jupiter for a full moon in Gemini, it's like that darker shadow side of you which is coming to surface, which really can beat you up, but that's not his whole purpose. His whole purpose is for magic and to create life that you want to create. But you gotta actually help it though. You gotta walk it. You know what I'm saying? Walk it like you talk it. I mean, talk it like you walk it at least. Or like, you know what I'm saying? If you walk in a certain way, like, and you ain't talking about it, then change the way you change some shit and be okay with that change. Initiate some different vibrations. Get out of these habits. Because full moon in Gemini is a real thing. We've like everything we've been showing and breaking down is like real shit. And relationships, like real shit that truly matter. I don't know. I feel like I gotta be the only one on the internet alerting niggas to the dark side of shit, because it just seems as though like Venus retrograde for y'all was like this magical shit, but generally y'all didn't see the other side of it though. like the foresight of it all is like a lot of people made mistakes that they gonna pay for later in life. Like, and that's more of the reality of Venus retrograde. It wasn't like the immediate gratification as opposed to figuring out the meat and bones of what a person was trying to say or what a person was really trying to do. You got caught up in the limelight, and now you in a situation where it's like irreversible, and that is that sextile to Uranus. But it works two ways. Like, it can work in a way where you listening to your inner self and you doing the right thing based upon your consciousness, because that consciousness has an objective view, or you listening to your lower self that cannot see that objective view and is completely trapped in the physical sensual reality, which is nothing wrong with that. But I'm just saying there's two different choices that you could take, two different moves you can make. So, hold on a second. Yeah. So, what's happening is that we're beginning to understand the shift. And beginning to understand the shift is simply that, understanding that it's the beginning. And if you can understand it's the beginning, if you can understand that you're moving towards something, you're creating something, then that's all you need. If you caught up in the present in a sense where you panicked and tense and anxious and all of that, then that's the shit that's going to really, like, it's not really serving you. Because how I feel is that mentally, whatever you're thinking mentally on a particular vibration is very much accelerated. So I'm very wary of negative emotions and negative vibrations. I'm like, you gotta examine that shit. This is a perfect time for therapy, counseling, getting a third party involved, a non-biased third party involved in your relationship so you can get some form of clarity. There is no reason to be in a negative headspace, a negative thought space, and having this connection to spirit is very important. And this brings me to my card of the day. Say, for instance, you don't have this connection to spirit and it's like not relevant to you. Like, it don't make, like, you just more focused on the whatever, you know, but this connection to spirit piece or this connection to the soul piece, it just go over your head. Well, yesterday we talked about possession. Today we're going to talk about coucher. And coucher is the hermit in the New Orleans voodoo tarot deck. And so it's still early, but I'm still present. So, you know, it is what it is. So realizing that if you do not feel connected to spirit, if that connection is not there, then you have to take yourself away from whatever is pulling you away from spirit, and to take some time, not forever, but a weekend, a day, like sometime. If you know, sometimes you got kids and, you know, a whole slew of other things, but, you know, just being responsible enough to wake up a little bit before them or put them to sleep a little bit early to create that time. And if you can have more time, that's fine. Like, the more time, the better. But as much time as you can get to in tune to just your spirit, figuring out different ways to meditate. And trust me, I'm going to contribute to that, to the collective, like more guided meditations and things of that nature. Like, I really want some suggestions. So if you got any like kind of guided meditation suggestions and things of that nature. But really what needs to happen is that we need to become more spiritual every day. And really figuring out how to become spiritual, and really figuring out what does that look like? Why do we even want to be spiritual? Will end all the stigmatism and all the jokes around conscious people, because generally we're living the best life for real, because we're not stressed the fuck out whether, and ultimately with this card is saying wherever you are at, there's a level of peace, a level of joy, a level of happiness. And to me, this represents consciousness to a T. It's not about the external. It's really so much about this internal vibration that we have within ourselves, and creating and cultivating that, and then bringing that outwards. Such a powerful thing. And I'm sure very few like even realize it. And so some concepts to work with moving forward, just some words really. I think these words are powerful. I just can kind of just meditate on these words and bring about a manifestation, because the concept is so far removed from society and how society thinks, that when you change the way that you begin to think about life, it begins to show up that way. So understanding that we have the capability of foreknowledge, meaning that within you is something that you know about the future. But it ain't like, oh, let me just be a psychic. No, if you know something about the future, it begins now. And you may be doing something abstract. You may be studying something weird. You might be taking yourself on a long journey somewhere. But trust me, that's coming from spirit. And you got to continue to walk through that, through this awkward phase of shifts. And then throughout your journey, you can't be isolated in a sense to thinking that, or even in your isolation, you still need people. At a certain level, we all are born on this earth. We come from a womb, another person. And I just say that to say that our whole existence is based upon needing someone. So to this ideology where it's just you out here and you're going to be single forever, or you don't need nobody, or, you know, all of this shit, is that your core truth though? Or is that the effects that life has given you, and something that I can completely understand? But we are at a time and junction that if what you want, maybe what you want to the core without you even realizing you want it, is presenting itself to you right now, and you don't know how to handle it. You need to hit me up, hoodmystic@gmail.com. Definitely can provide you some insight. It don't gotta be very intense. 15 minutes, boom boom, flam flam, we out the door. You know, I think people think about readings with me and they get all like it's gonna be like this big deal, but it just is what it is. That was really the reading for the day. I hope that was lucid enough for you. I hope that made enough sense. I hope I explained it well enough for the listeners out there. Ultimately, much to do now for the future. So if you're chilling, bored, idle, not doing shit, you're not really in tune with the energy. You really somewhere else. But if you fully engaged and busy and doing what it do and over yourself and trying to connect with the collective and putting your best foot forward, you fully engage with the energy and don't let nothing stop you. The thought that was in my mind a lot yesterday, I don't know where it came from, but I don't even know like where it came from. I know I heard it before, but maybe y'all know, where it's like some Christian shit, but I don't know, it made sense. It was like, if God got something for you, no man can stand in between that. Like, I don't know where that came from. I don't know who that was for, But, you know, it felt good, like, thinking that, like, that is crazy. Because there's a lot of people who may not like me or may prey on my downfall or may prey on your downfall, but they won't be able to stop it, you know. So I'll leave y'all with that. Hope y'all have a wonderful day. Be sure to reach out to me, hoodmystic@gmail.com, patreon.com/thehoodmystic, and also www.hoodmystic.com. I got a full moon in Gemini video coming up Wednesday. That's going to be monumental, super impactful. Really continuing along with this energy and just keep steamrolling along. Like, we generally need a break from all of this energy, but I don't see one coming no time soon. So let's continue to understand it. Let's continue to move forward. I'm telling you, but whatever is happening, it's happening fast. So it's important that we attune with it and understand its objective nature as opposed to our subjective human two eyes that can only see but so much, you know. So much more power than our humanity, you know, outside of it. So let's just get into that spirituality. But peace and love to y'all. Hope y'all have a wonderful day.